Hey, welcome to Chile Expat Family. I'm Jim Dorchak. Today I want to do a little short video on construction in Chile. And I'm just going to give you a little brief overview of what you should expect here in Chile. Keep in mind that Chile is a really long country. So what does that mean? That means in the north of Chile near Iquique and the northern border of Chile, it is the driest desert in the world. And in the south of Chile, the farthest point south, is right there near Antarctica. The Tierra del Fuego, Ushuaia is there, whatever. It's the farthest south, and it's really cold there, and it's really hot and dry in the north. And it gets really cold in the night north in the desert, as you would expect. So you have different constructions for the different zones, and everything in between. Most of what I'm going to center on is the construction that I have here, but what you should expect to see in the north is you would see a lot of concrete up there, a lot of ceramic tile floors, even ceramic tile walls. On the exterior of the houses, they use a lot of ceramic and concrete and stucco, and some places may even use adobe because they don't get a whole lot of rain up there. Flat roofs, you see more of that in the north than you see here in the south, and there's not a lot of wood construction up there. The reason there's not a lot of wood construction up there is there's not a lot of wood. In the south, this is very wooded area. If you can see behind me, we got lots of trees. Wood is commonly used here as a fuel source for heating your house and cooking on. Why? Because it's so plentiful and so cheap. It's so plentiful that we burn it off in piles because we got huge piles of brush to get rid of. Now in the north, that's a different thing. They have the plentiful concrete, adobe, stone, rocks, and that sort of thing. So when you get further south, you have more wood construction. As you see, our cabana over here is made of wood, and our main house is made of wood, which is a stud construction, or post and beam some people like to use as well. You especially see the post and beam in the very old houses that were constructed here by the Germans in the 1860s. It's interesting to note that those houses that were built in the 1860s by the Germans are still standing today after some of the biggest earthquakes in the history of man. And the reason they are still standing is because wood is kind of a living thing, and it moves with the earth as it shakes around. So those are, you'll see 300-year-old houses here in the south of Chile. You don't see a lot of those in the north of Chile. It's very uncommon because they've had some severe earthquakes, and unfortunately concrete doesn't react so well in stone and rock and adobe construction to earthquakes. And we do have earthquakes here. Some of them have been severe. Most of them are pretty mild. Got a truck driving by there. So you should keep in mind and be aware that when you build your house, your foundation should be reinforced with steel. You should use a lot of blocking between your studs and your joists to prevent the racking of the house, which I've done a lot of that with sheeting. You can do it with sheeting, or you can put actual blocks between them. Some people have asked me about mine, why I don't have more, and I just haven't had the time to put them in my garage. They use what they're called noggins in Australia, I believe. I had a commenter ask about that. If you're in a municipality or close to a city or in a subdivision, which they do have subdivisions here, they call them loteos. They call them, you would buy a lot or loteo. In a condominium, they call them condominiums, but really what they are is, you would recognize it as a subdivision. If you build a house in one of those, you can expect that you're going to have to follow certain guidelines and restrictions. You're closer to your neighbors, you're on a lot. Sorry about the wind. So those things apply there, okay? If you're out like me, out here in the campo, man, look, I ain't got any neighbors. There's nobody out there. So when you look at those things, for me, for instance, you don't have those restrictions. I don't have to have building permits here. I don't have to have any of those things. The main reason I don't have a lot of those things is they aren't asked for. They don't have the inspectors and all that to come out here and knock on my door, and it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. And a lot of the Chileans are the same way. I'll give you an example of that. I wanted to get my fishing license so I could go catch salmon and trout in the rivers here. And I talked to some friends who were in town, and I asked them, you know, this is over a period of years, how do I get a fishing license? How do I get a oh, you go here, you go there. Finally, I talked to a guy, I said, do you have a fishing license? And he's really a law-abiding guy. He's an evangelical, and he's like, look, I tried to get my fishing license. I've tried for 5-10 years. And he said, I went to this place, I went to that place, and I asked. I went to the police and asked, and there's like, nobody knew how to get a fishing license. And yes, you can eventually get one, but it was such a pain in the neck. He said, nobody's going to ask me for my license, and I don't have it. Great thing about having a fishing license is it does help the environmental economy here as far as support for the rivers and streams. So I'm not saying don't go get a fishing license, don't go get a building permit. I'm saying looking to see if it is and how mandatory it is, and if there's a big pain in the neck, then it's easier to ask for permission, or for if there's a big pain in the neck to do it, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than there is permission. And in many cases, the fine is going to be less than what the actual initial fee would be. So, what do you expect? Let me give you a look at it real quick, okay? So, what should you expect? You should expect that you're going to build a house the way you want to. And for me, that was a wood house in the south, which is what I like. It's the cheapest form I could get here. The materials are readily available. As you see, I took my container that I bought and I shipped down here, and I integrated it in the house, giving me that reinforcement from the steel and the rigidity of the steel of my container, which is now integrated into my house. I have a slab floor. Some of my slab is heated with electric. You can also heat your slab with water, which I should have done. I beat myself for not doing. But the other thing is I build a lot of things on my own. I have my jointer, my planer. Right now I'm building windowsills. I glued this windowsill up yesterday. I've got to plane it today. Yeah, so, and if I want to build hinges and things like that and latches, I can blacksmith them, which I blacksmith. So what I'm saying is the world is your oyster here in where I am. Don't try to reinvent the wheel as far as construction goes in Chile. If you're in the north and you're up there, you may want to use concrete. Everybody else is. It's readily available. It's cheap. Concrete block is easy to get, and so is ceramic tile. And because of those issues, you have guys that are really good at those items too. Call somebody to do your concrete work, your concrete block laying, or your brick laying, and that sort of thing. If you're in the south, you're going to want to use more wood because it rains like buckets here, and the wood is the cheapest thing, and you'll find people that know how to do that construction to help you out with that. So I hope this helped you a little bit in your quest of, wow, I want to go there and build a house, and I didn't know what to do about construction in Chile. So there's my brief on construction in Chile. I hope it helped you. And ciao from Chile Expat family, and I appreciate you stopping by. I want to thank Teresa for her donation to me. Teresa donates monthly, and I know that is a commitment from her, and I really appreciate it. Teresa, thank you very much for supporting my channel and making this video available to other people who I'm sure would like to donate too. If you would like to donate to my channel, in the bottom in the comment section is a button to go to my PayPal club, and you can donate too. Also, you can go to my homepage in the upper right hand corner, and it'll be there as well. Ciao from Chile Expat family. Y'all have a nice week.
5 years ago, Lori, the boys, and I pulled up our roots and moved to Chile. Let me tell you, it was really scary. We were looking for an adventure of a lifetime. And what we really wanted was just a peaceful place to call home with kind and gentle neighbors. We wanted to enjoy the life that God gave us. Free, simple, safe, and more beautiful than you can ever imagine.